what's going on, guys? It's Jay Mass, and I'm back again with another dope New England adventure. And on this beautiful fall day here in mid-October, we're out here in the 10-mile woods within Keney Park in the city of Hartford, Connecticut. That's right, the city of Hartford, Connecticut does have beautiful forests like this. We're going for a bit of a hike right now, and we're going to be checking out some abandoned ruins of a once thriving zoo that was here, the Sherwood Forest Zoo. Now, the zoo didn't actually last very long. It opened up in 1963 and closed a little over a decade later in 1976. But unfortunately, the history of the zoo, it's not very good. There was a lot of disturbing things that happened there, and we will get into all that shortly. But we are going to be checking out the ruins and remnants left behind of the zoo, the Sherwood Forest Zoo, located within the 10-mile woods here in Hartford, Connecticut. Before we do that, I do just want to say, I'm not going to be checking this place out by myself. We are going to be joined by my friend and frequent collaborator on this channel, Jesse. I'm sure you guys remember Jesse. He's been on a couple of videos with me in the past.
Hey guys.
How's it going, Jesse? You excited to check out these zoo ruins today?
Oh yeah, very excited.
Yeah, so again, we're out here in Hartford, Connecticut. Going to check out the Sherwood Forest Zoo. We're going to hike over there right now and see what remnants and ruins are left behind. And as we do that, of course, I'll get into the history of this place. Opened in 1963, abandoned in 1976. Not a long history, but again, a pretty chilling and frankly downright disturbing history, and we'll get into all that shortly. So let's go.
Hell yeah.
All right, guys, we've arrived at the very first site here at the former Sherwood Forest Zoo in Hartford, Connecticut. And you can see Jesse and I have stumbled upon a former exhibit here. Now, I do just want to be clear, we don't know what animal lived here. We're definitely speculating. We think it might be some sort of marine or semi-aquatic animal that lived here. It looks like at one point this was filled in with water. My guess is maybe otters or something like that lived here. Again, not exactly sure. I don't know what animals lived here, but whatever it is, this clearly is a former exhibit that once housed animals here.
Yeah, I agree with that. Especially you can tell these rocks, the way they're formed up and around, clearly form some sort of cove.
Yep.
And in fact, right here, you can see an old filter drain area that you see in pools a lot, and there's one over there as well.
And also right beneath those rocks there's also a drain. You can't see it, but below those rocks there's a pipe of some sorts.
So I actually don't think it's a drain. If I was to guess, it's actually a feeding tube, because right here is a little trough. So if I were to make a guess, this was some sort of animal that ate fish, small fish, and they would put the fish in, or the food, whatever they did, here, and it would flow downward into the water.
Oh, that makes sense.
So that they wouldn't have to actually enter the exhibit. So they would just come back here, give them their food, walk away, and never have to actually interact with the animals.
That's an interesting point, and that kind of leads to my theory this might be an otter exhibit. Otters were one of the animals that actually once resided here at the Sherwood Forest Zoo. I think it might be otters because, of course, otters are semi-aquatic. They live on land and sea, but regardless, pretty cool to see this former exhibit. You can see as I walk down, it's a very rocky exhibit as well, probably to mimic the natural habitat of the animal that lived here. Again, part of why I think it was otters. Otters love very rocky, beachy areas. My knowledge on animals is showing today. But this right here, which is pretty cool too, I think this was at one point a viewing window. In fact, you want to step through it?
Yeah, sure.
I think that the zoo guests were over here, and then, oh, gotta watch out for that. The zoo guests were over here, and they would look in here, and this is where the animals would be. So this is a viewing window to actually see the animals that were in here, which is pretty cool.
If I would make another guess, I would say the water probably came up to here.
Yep.
So that you can see up and through, see it up on top, along with getting a underwater
Absolutely.
view of them.
The water level probably went up to that like concrete barrier over there.
Yeah.
Flat over here. So you could see, if it was otters, you could see them swimming under, and then you could see them going up onto the land. And then as Jesse said, there's probably a feeding trough over there. You could see them eat. So really cool to see.
Yeah.
Our very first exhibit. All right, we're gonna head over to this yellow shed over here, which Jesse and I both think is probably a maintenance shed of some sort. Could maybe be where the animals lived and hibernated. So that's also a possibility, but it's some sort of utility shed or hibernation structure, not really sure.
What are you doing in my house?
Sorry, dude, I meant to knock first, might be.
No, it's all good. Left the door open.
You got a nice little bed right here, actually. Is this where you sleep?
It says, yeah, MTV, this is my crib.
Yeah, that's one thing I do want to mention. When I was doing my research on this place, it actually said that there was a squatter living here at one point. That is why there's a mattress here. Someone was living in this abandoned zoo. Kind of creepy, but I don't think they're here anymore, so we should be fine. But yeah, as you can see, it's not too big. It's pretty small. They have, actually, part of why I think squatters lived here, they put up tarps for insulation, which is interesting.
Yeah, I was gonna say, it looks like
yeah, these were definitely not here when the zoo was operating.
Yeah, all the tarps and whatnot definitely set up by a squatter, made themselves a nice little home here.
I don't know if I'd use the word nice, but
true. I probably wouldn't use nice either, even though I just did. But,
but yeah, this is some sort of shed. Pretty cool to see. But yeah, as we continue on, I'll start delving into more of the history of the Sherwood Forest Zoo. We'll walk around a little bit more, and I'll tell you guys about the history that does quickly get disturbing, as I alluded to in the intro. You can see an oil drum or barrel right over there. I will mention too, there's a lot of debris lying around. If you are not a big fan of litter, and if you're a very no trace kind of person like Jesse and I are, you're gonna be upset seeing stuff lying around. Not the cleanest forest I visited, to be honest, but those, I don't know if those are remnants of the zoo or not, but there's a lot of litter here, just to be upfront. But anyways, let's get into the history. Oh, and another viewing window there. Check that out.
Yep, looks like we have another semi-aquatic exhibit.
Oh yeah.
This one looks to be a bit deeper though.
This could be the seals. I do recall there were seals at the zoo. A lot of the animals that lived here were actually local New England wildlife, and of course we have seals here in New England. So my guess is this could be the seal exhibit, since it's much deeper than the previous.
Yes, it's much deeper, definitely bigger.
Yeah, huge. Yeah. Seal. This has to be seals, I think. Massive. Or could be bears too. Probably
I don't
seals
think it'd
though.
be bears.
I mean, yeah, polar bears are like the only truly semi-aquatic bears. But anyways, Jesse and I are gonna walk up, check out this exhibit a little bit more in depth, and as we do that, I will get into more of the history. So as you can see, this right here is the exhibit, looking at it from an upper view. You can see there's just a massive pool here that at one point probably housed some sort of marine or semi-aquatic animals. Again, I think this right here was probably the seal exhibit. I think that over there was the otter exhibit. Not 100% sure, can't prove that, but that's my best educated guess. But regardless, this clearly was meant for some sort of animal that loves living in the water. You can see by the massive pool here, like truly the biggest one in the site we've seen thus far. And I think Jesse saw some sort of like structure over there that maybe they lived in, or some sort of entryway.
Yeah, if I was to make a guess, I would say that must be the like the hole that maybe like they moved the animals in and out of whenever like they needed to service them.
Probably when the animals were coming to feed or to sleep or something. Not sure, but cool to see nonetheless. Yeah. But we'll walk around a bit, and I will get into more of the history. As I mentioned, the Sherwood Forest Zoo opened in 1963. And again, it didn't last too long. It did close a little over a decade later in 1976. But the original intent for the zoo was to provide inner city youth with a way to experience nature and wildlife. Again, you have to remember, we're not in the middle of nowhere right now. We're in Hartford, Connecticut, the capital city of Connecticut. And the point of the zoo was to give local Hartford youth a way to experience the wilderness, you know, nature and wildlife and such. There were quite a few animals here. Some of the animals I remember off the top of my head were sheep, deer, bobcats, seals, otters, llamas. There were quite a few animals here, most of which are North American animals. Now that being said, this is when we have to get into the more disturbing and sad part, and if animal cruelty upsets you, just a bit of a warning. It's not, I won't get too graphic, but it is pretty upsetting. There was a lot of animal cruelty here. Animals were definitely not treated well by both staff and visitors. Without going into specifics, some of the animals and exhibits here had rocks thrown at them. They were abused. Yeah, a lot of animal cruelty and mistreatment, and that's why I really don't have much sympathy for the zoo closing. I actually did a video last year at another abandoned zoo in Connecticut. That one's called Shade Swamp Sanctuary. Definitely check out that video if you want to see it, but that zoo was a lot more respectful. The intent of that zoo was to be more of a refuge or a nursery for animals. You know, it provided actual treatment and care for animals, more of an animal rehabilitation center. Of course, the public was allowed to see the animals, but it was a lot more respectful. That's a zoo that I respect and I have a lot of sympathy for. But this one, the Sherwood Forest Zoo, knowing what happened to the animals here, how cruel it was, how many animals were euthanized, I don't really have any sympathy for them at all, and it's probably for the better this place closed down. And if you're wondering why it closed down so quickly, that's part of it. The other problem is that they just weren't making enough money. They were only making about $5,000 a year, and their expenses altogether were about $65,000 a year. So they really weren't making that much. Maybe, you know, they had like a huge deficit. So yeah, this zoo had a lot of problems plaguing it. Financial, of course, but again, a lot of vandalism, mistreatment of animals. Another thing that I read online, apparently a lot of instruments and things were getting stolen. I read, this is the craziest thing I read, apparently a rifle got stolen from the zoo by visitors at one point. Like, it's chaotic what was happening here, but that is the sad reality. All right, we've come across yet another structure, again, once part of the Sherwood Forest Zoo. This right here, though, was not an exhibit. It was actually a bathroom. It's the bathroom exhibit. So that's what this is right here, the bathroom structure. You can see completely tagged in graffiti. Definitely weathered quite a few New England storms. The ceiling has entirely collapsed, but regardless, we are going to head inside, check this out, see what's left behind. I'm curious if there's any remnants of the bathroom, like actually intact, or if it's all been scrapped and broken. Actually, this might just be I think this is just the pipe room, plumbing.
That's what I was thinking when I looked over.
Yeah.
It's clearly not, like, whatever was in here is gone.
Right.
But it doesn't lead anywhere, so I'm assuming it's just the water.
That's definitely, yeah, piping. But we will peek in here. I think one of the bathroom entrances should be over here, I believe. And again, by the way, you can see all the debris here. It is not the most well-kept forest I've ever seen, that's for sure. All right, let's peek in here. Yeah, I think this is one of the bathrooms. Oh yeah, wow.
Let's see, what do we got?
So obviously this is in a bit of ruin right now, a bit of a ruined state. But yes, this was a bathroom at one point. Look, you can actually see remnants of different stalls.
Yeah, stalls, like, you can see this is where the hand dryers were.
Yeah, hand dryers. Those are probably sinks.
Sinks, mirrors.
Oh, and then you can see two toilets.
Two toilets, so this must have been the women's room.
Yep. So that must mean the men's is over there. Maybe we'll start heading over there. We'll check out the other room on the other side.
I peeked at the other one, and there is definitely a hand dryer still in there.
Oh, interesting.
Judging not based off of that bathroom, I doubt to be much else.
You're right, that probably is women's. So yeah, as you can see, I mean, this bathroom's primarily scrapped. Probably won't, after this, probably continue on, but I just want to show you guys. This right here is probably the men's bathroom. Head inside. Oh, yep, Jesse's right. There's a hand dryer left behind. Check this out. Two of them, actually.
Oh, nice.
Two hand dryers. Huh. Oh, yeah, wow, and there's entire stalls. I wasn't expecting that. So I guess we'll peek in there really quick.
Looks like these are no different from the other side, so kind of
could just be a unisex bathroom.
Unisex bathroom.
I mean, I'm sure they were designated, but
these are freaking tiny, though, huh?
Yeah, not that big.
Not a lot of space.
Well, these are the bathrooms. Again, ceiling completely caved in, as you can see. But pretty cool. This is where the terrible visitors who mistreated animals went to the bathroom. And really quickly, I just do want to point out this fencing right here. This is one of the former exhibits as well. This one doesn't really have any structures or anything in it. It's literally just a fence, so I'm not going to spend too much time. But I did just want to point this out. This is an example of what one of the exhibits would have looked like. My guess is that this probably housed larger animals, maybe the bears or deer that were here. You can see it's a pretty large fenced-in area. There's also another one right here. This might even be like an aviary for birds, if I had to guess.
Yeah, it's difficult to say what this is right here because it's so mangled. There's even a chance that this was the original fencing for whatever this was.
That's true.
You know, but who's to say?
I mean, if I had to guess based on my experience at zoos, this was probably for birds because the bird exhibits are usually smaller and look like that. This was probably for like deer, something like that. But either way, I did just want to point that out. Some more examples of exhibits, but we're going to continue on. All right, we got another exhibit right here, and this is yet another really interesting exhibit. I do want to start by showing you guys this right here. I believe these are the dens for whatever animal lived here. You know, this is where the animals would sleep or hibernate. Now, once again, not sure what animal lived here. We can, of course, speculate, but Jesse and I have no clue. But this is yet another pretty large exhibit. It's actually a walk-in exhibit, at least it is right now. I don't know if it was back in the day, but we're gonna step inside this little exhibit right here and explore it. You can see, of course, there's a fenced-in area, but there is also a ceiling, which maybe this could be, maybe there were birds in here actually. I don't know. But
Maybe.
there's a ceiling to prevent whatever lived in here from getting out, whereas the other exhibits didn't have ceilings, you know. So it makes me think it was something that could climb out.
Yeah, maybe. It's difficult to tell for sure.
Right.
There's no signs or anything. We'll just look at the remnants. It could be... I think it was something...
What do you think, if you had to guess?
If I were to guess, I would say it must have been some sort of small bird. Like, I honestly, chickens, maybe?
I don't know if I'd go that far. Honestly,
or
I'm not gonna lie. Now that I'm thinking about it, this might be like wolves or foxes.
Could be.
I don't know. That den's kind of small for wolves, though.
Yeah, I probably wouldn't say
Coyotes.
wolves. If
it was
coyotes,
birds, maybe like eagles or hawks. I don't know. Whatever lived here, like this is the hardest exhibit to really identify. But let me know in the comments, guys. Actually, what animal do you think lived here?
There's a chain right here. Don't know if
I don't know if
the original exhibit or not.
The thing is, like, if I had to guess, like, blind, I would guess monkeys. But I don't think this zoo had monkeys. Because this is, like, perfect for monkeys to swing around. You know, monkeys can climb out.
Yeah.
But I don't think the Sherwood Forest Zoo had monkeys. I think it was mostly North American animals. I don't know. Again, let me know in the comments, guys, if you have any guess what you think lived here. Whatever it is, it did live in rocky dens like this. But it's interesting. This is an interesting exhibit. Yeah. There's a chain link ceiling and fence around it. So I don't know. Whatever it was could climb up. Oh, maybe this, that's too small for bears. I don't know. It's hard to tell. But another cool exhibit right here. I really like this den though. It's a cool looking den. You got the rocks on the side. And then of course it's just a concrete den down here. Again, remember the treatment and happiness of the animals was not taken into account here. And as an animal lover myself, big fan of animals, I don't really like that. But we're gonna continue on. Just wanted to show you guys this. Jesse and I have come across yet another structure of some sort. As you can see, this is more of a foundation. So it's not like a whole building. This is just a foundation of a former building. However, in my opinion, I don't think this was an exhibit. I actually think this was some sort of utility structure. Whether it was a pump house or a powerhouse or whatever it was, I personally think that this cement structure right here was probably used to hold some sort of equipment or machinery. Again, from my experience, I think this is some sort of utility or powerhouse. I don't know what you think.
One of those, maybe some sort of like water pump station.
Yeah, that's what I probably think, but
it's really hard to tell. There's nothing here that gives us any revelation as to what it was for, what was housed here.
It's hard to tell, but cool to see nonetheless. Did want to point this out, and over here I want to show you guys one more ruin we found. And I guess as we head over there, I'll finish off the history. So as I mentioned, there was quite a bit of animal cruelty here, animal abuse. You know, not a fan of that stuff, obviously. A lot of vandalism. And then, of course, you also had the financial constraints. They were only making $5,000 yearly. I believe $60,000 was their expenditures, so they were losing money, effectively. So by 1976, for all these factors that we mentioned, the zoo officially closed down and it never reopened. There were actually plans and considerations to reopen the zoo, but again, because of its tumultuous history, that never happened. So the Sherwood Park Zoo the Sherwood Forest Zoo only lasted from 1963 to 1976. Not that long. And again, in my opinion, rightfully so, considering what happened here. This right here looks like some sort of cage. Actually looks like it was probably overturned. Yeah. I think that maybe this housed small animals or birds of some sort. It's the kind of thing you see with smaller animals, but interesting to see a remnant of a cage right here. So, yeah, cool. All right, guys, so we're just about to wrap up the video. I just wanted to show you a few last remnants left behind, like this weird concrete structure right here. No clue what this was. Almost looks like an old flower pot or something. And then over here, we actually have an old grill. I'm sure you guys have been to picnic areas before. This is one of those grills you often find at picnic areas. And of course, the Sherwood Forest Zoo used to have those. There's one right here. This is one of the bigger ones. There's another one right over there. It's kind of hard to see, but there's one right there as well. So that leads me to believe that this area right here was once a picnic area where families could come, sit down, have lunch. Pretty cool to see the remnants of that.
Yeah, it's very cool. It's very nice.
But I think that really is about it for Sherwood Forest Zoo. I do want to mention there were quite a few other remnants and ruins left behind that we didn't film, but that's because they were really small or hard to tell. Way out there where we were earlier, that's where most of the exhibits were. There were quite a few other remnants of old exhibits. We saw some small little artificial ponds and areas in the forest that looked like they were man-made. So just making it clear, there was a lot more that I didn't show on camera, but they were really small and hard to tell. I just wanted to show you guys the main things, but yeah, that's really about it. Hey, thank you guys for joining me. I've been J Mass as always, and this has been another dope New England adventure. And today we explored the abandoned Sherwood Forest Zoo here in Keney Park, within the 10-mile woods here in the city of Hartford, Connecticut. Such a fascinating abandoned location. As I mentioned earlier, this is the second abandoned zoo here in Connecticut, actually, that I've explored. Pretty cool to see yet another one. This one was really interesting with a lot of remnants left behind, several exhibits, some old animal dens, even some remnants of the human areas like the bathrooms and what looks to be the picnic area. So it was a cool abandoned site. That being said, the history a little more concerning. It opened up in 1963, had many animals, most of which came from North America, but sadly there was a lot of animal abuse and animal cruelty here, a lot of vandalism, and then of course serious financial issues. All of that eventually led to its early closure in 1976, and it never reopened. And what we explored today were the ruins of that former zoo here in the woods in Hartford, Connecticut. But truly fascinating to see. It was cool how many exhibits were left behind. I honestly didn't think it'd be as big as it was. And it is open to the public here in Keney Park, a public park. So if you ever find yourself in this area of Hartford, Connecticut, would highly recommend checking it out. It's a fun place to go for a hike, beautiful trails in the woods. And of course, you can check out the ruins of this historic zoo. But yeah, that's been about it. Again, my name is J Mass, once again joined by Jesse, frequent collaborator on the channel. What do you think about it?
Oh, it was really interesting to see. You know, the past really too bad, very disturbing. Right. But honestly, I'm glad that it didn't last that long.
Yeah,
you know,
a little over a decade, not too long. But yeah, thanks for joining me, Jesse. As always, you've been on many of my videos. I'm glad to have you on another one. So,
it's always a pleasure.
Yeah, Jesse will be back again soon, I'm sure. As always, guys, my name is J Mass. If you love urban exploration, checking out abandoned sites, traveling New England and beyond, I'm always doing that on this channel. So feel free to subscribe to the channel. Do want to give a major shout out to all my channel members. You can see them all right here. You guys are awesome. And I'd love it if you too, viewer of this video, consider becoming a channel member as well. Or you can follow me on Instagram at JMassOfficial. That's at JMassOfficial. But yeah, that's about it. I've been J Mass. This has been Jesse, Sherwood Forest Zoo. And I think we're gonna head out now. See you later. Never do that again.